What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. And this time we're taking a look at the South Park movie from 1999. All right, let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Make this review as short and sweet as possible. So, growing up as a child, I was never the world's biggest South Park fan. It's not because I hated the show, it's because I just never found the interest to want to be a viewer of the show. But with that being said, I've always been a fan of the South Park movie. Ever since I saw it when I was 9 years old, I thought it was funny as shit then. And watching it now, 20-something years later, I appreciate this movie. And I appreciate how well this movie still holds up with what Trey Parker and Matt Stone were satirizing. My oh my, does this movie mean more now than it ever did? Especially since we live in a world where freedom of speech and censorship is more debated upon nowadays than it ever was back in 1999. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they really have their finger of the pulse when it comes to real world issues. Like they know what to satirize, they know what to make fun of and poke holes at and poke fun at. And the South Park movie does that to a T. Now, I don't think this movie is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It does have some things I didn't really care for, but as an overall package, just by itself, I think South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is still really, really funny and still really holds up. And the overall premise of this movie is absolutely absurd. Cartman, Stanley, Kenny, and Eric. I'm sorry, not Eric. Cartman, Kenny, Stan, and Kyle sneak into a rated R movie that stars these two Canadian comedians known as Terrence and Phillip. After watching this movie called Farts Asses on Fire, their mothers start to do a revolt against Canada because their children can't stop swearing. The overall premise is absolutely ridiculous, but it works. It works for what this movie tries to do. Like you take the most generic, most easy to solve problem, and you turn it into a big issue when it doesn't really need to be a big issue. And that's what always made South Park very interesting, is that it knew how to commentate on issues that are not really a big deal and blow them out of proportions because it's the way the world views it. And this movie did that to a T. The whole notion of starting a war against Canada because of foul language is absolutely absurd, but this movie pokes fun at it to the point of absolute hilarity. I like the characters in this movie. I think Trey Parker, who voices a majority of the cast, he does a really good job voicing all these characters. Like he gives every single one of them their distinct voice, and is absolutely hysterical. I think the majority of the jokes in this movie, to me, they still hold up. Though there were some that I don't care for. I've never really been a fan of fart jokes in general, but I like how this movie uses it to poke fun at it, which I thought was actually pretty clever and actually really well done. That was cool. That was fine for what it is. I like the whole subplot of Kenny going to hell after trying to light one of his farts, and now he has to chill out with Satan and Saddam Hussein. And if the blood of these two Canadians spill on American soil, then this would fulfill that prophecy that would allow Satan to invade Earth. That whole thing with Kenny in hell is absolutely hysterical, including this little mini music video that has James Hetfield from Metallica singing a song called Hell Isn't Good, which is absolutely hysterical. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. But Satan in this movie is absolutely hysterical. This movie chose to portray Satan as this soulful, sensitive type of character who is in a relationship with Saddam Hussein. It's absolutely stupid and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like Satan wants to have a real relationship with Saddam, while Saddam just wants to have sex with Satan. It's absolutely absurd, but it's hilarious. It's stupidly hilarious. The whole subplot of Stan having a crush on this girl is funny as hell too, because every time he sees her, he throws up on her because he gets so nervous and scared, and then he goes on his quest to try and find the clitoris after asking Chef how to get a girl to like him. It's so dumb. It's so stupid, but it's hilarious. And the whole and and when the U.S. declared war on Canada, they did it because the Canadians bombed the Baldwin Mansion. It's so fucking absurd, but I like it. I like it because it's absurd, but the movie plays it totally straight and makes fun of it. That's what makes it work. That's what makes this movie works. Uh, I mean, but there are certain things in this movie that I didn't care for. There's this whole thing of Stan having to fight the affection of this girl Wendy, who likes this other kid. He didn't really need that other kid, to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of useless. Then there's this other kid called the Mole, who comes in at the end of the movie, who helps them invade the concentration camp, who helps them invade some USO show that's happening before the invasion of Canada. I thought this Mole kid wasn't even funny. He was kind of useless. You didn't really need him. That's just how I felt about it personally. You should have just stuck with the core group and whoever wanted to join their little La Resistance to free Terrence and Philippe. That's just it. You get rid of those two characters and you clean up and you fix up some of the jokes I didn't really find all that funny, but some were. The Mr. Mackey song, when he teaches the kids to use alternate words instead of swearing, is hilarious. Mr. Garrison and his handful of scenes I thought were funny. I thought were really funny too, especially when he begs one of the kids to take care of Mr. Hat, and then Cartman later on just throws him out of, just like gets rid of him, like, get out of here. I thought that was funny too. The whole thing of Cartman having this V chip that prevents him from swearing, you get some mileage out of it, but it does get annoying halfway through. And then you do this ridiculous Dragon Ball Z like parody when he uses the chip as like a Super Saiyan power, which I thought was kind of stupid. And I didn't get all that many laughs out of it. Well, that's just me. That's just how I viewed it. But but yeah, the majority of the movie I got a kick out of. I still enjoy it. I still like it. I've never really been a big fan of the animation style of South Park. I think it looks cheap and crappy, which is also a nice and but I do appreciate the fact that Trey Parker pokes fun at that also in a little meta joke that this movie has when Cartman's talking about the Terrence and Phillip movie. So I do appreciate Trey Parker for being self-aware. But other than that, I enjoy South Park bigger, longer, and uncut. Over 20-something years later, I think this movie's still hilarious, and that's why I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.